No, I think we can go straight into the online portals. I have ChannelOneNews.com opened. Some of the stories you'll find: continue current fiscal monetary path to sustain city gains. Inusa Fuseni urges government. Tobu hails GIS for bold crackdown on street begging. Smart formalization will speed Africa's economic growth. That's according to Baumia. Togo hands over notorious robber behind Accra's high-profile robberies. No excuse not to reduce prices, cuts international tells Guta AGI. Trending stories you'll find on ChannelOneNews.com. Accra to host third AAWP Festival on May 22. That's the All-African Women Poetry Festival. I'm sure Pyoko will be interested in that story. Street Children Coalition demands multi-agency approach to foreign beggar crisis. Revamp tour, cuts fuel imports, COPEC tells government. COPEC demands immediate fuel price reduction at pumps. Former Gabon President Ali Bongo relocates to Angola. And yes, those are some of the stories you'll find on ChannelOneNews.com. The one is the digit one.
And on citynewsroom.com, over 8,000 chip-embedded passports delivered nationwide since April 28. Also here, NDC MPs urge swift action to address doomsaw in constituencies. They spoke to our colleague Nyaikwe Okine in Peduasi during the Parliamentary Select Committee on Energy's engagement with stakeholders. Some other news: the MPP Deputy Director of Protocol has been speaking, and he says rebuild party structures before picking 2028 flag bearer. Notorious robbery suspect captured in Togo extradited to Ghana. Prof. Isumin, who is an economist at the University of Ghana Business School, yesterday on the big issue said shift to domestic financing to support long-term stability. Inusa Fuseni, also on the city, says the gains made by the city is driven by fiscal monetary alignment. And in the eastern region, all 33 MMDCEs confirmed. Finance Ministry, BOG synergy yielding good results. That's coming from the Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana's Executive Secretary, Samson Awingobet, who, by the way, loves our show a lot. You know, he watches our show.
Yes, he does.
Awingobet. You Dada KD, I'm sure you know him.
Very unfortunate.
Did you like his music?
I did. I'm trying to remember. I was listening to one yesterday. Murphy.
The sad news is that he passed, on Friday.
Yeah, and I heard he had a couple of shows lined up in the UK and in the US.
Yeah.
I mean, he did one in Birmingham in the US, but unfortunately he was unable to make it.
Yeah, so his manager has been speaking, following his demise of that Arcadia. And he says he was doing well before his demise. And two quick stories, then you bring us the next online portal you have. There's a surge in mentally ill persons on Accra streets, and it's raising safety concerns. That feature is on citynewsroom.com. And also here, streets begging crackdown to extend beyond Accra. And that's coming from the Interior Minister, Mubarak Muntaka. He's also a member of parliament for Asawase. I always say it in a funny way. You correct me.
Today you've done well.
I've done well today.
Yeah, today you've done well.
Amazing.
I'm on graphiconline.com. Some of the stories you'll find: AMA boss engages street traders ahead of decongestion exercise in Accra on May 20. Baumia warns against tariffs as solution to trade deficits, calls for macroeconomic reforms. Migrant beggars crackdown will be a nationwide exercise, Interior Minister assures. Technician jailed 5 years for stealing electric cables. Farmer 42 sentenced to life for murdering pregnant wife. Breaking the silence on corruption, empowered residents demand accountability in northern Bono Ahafo regions. GHS take measures to check Mpox outbreak. Migrant beggars removed from streets. Notorious armed robber sentenced to 120 years and life imprisonment for murder and robbery in Kumasi. President Mahama gives dancer money. Clarifies it's 500 Ghana cedis, not dollars.
I know what's with this whole thing about government, he always wanted to give money to people.
You can't give money to somebody anymore. But it's something that we do in our culture. When they're dancing, they'll come to you and then you give them something or you throw it on them. So yeah, allow.
Except that the one in the can, that one, I don't know which part of our culture it belongs to.
But that one, yeah.
Anyway.
Especially when they see people at such few events, they always, throng to the person to demand for money. That's all the omuka. Anyway, Ghanaian pilgrim dies while performing Hajj in Makkah. President renominates 4 MDCEs for Greater Accra. SGF calls for support to train next generation leaders. UK trade envoy Ribeiro Adi visits Ghana to strengthen economic ties.
That was the graphiconline.com.
Yes.
And GNA, .org.gh is one of the oldest, media outlets in the country, state-owned. Some of the stories they have here. Mahama announces plans to upgrade Accra Regional Hospital to teaching hospital. The Office of Government Machinery Entities must work in Ghana's interest. That's coming in from the Deputy Government Spokesperson or Presidential Spokesperson, Shamima Muslim. Greater Accra Public Lands, government to set up Commission of Inquiry. And finally here, crime prevention must be the bedrock of modern policing. That's coming in from the Chief of Staff, Mr. Julius Debra, as he urged the Ghana Police to prioritize, crime prevention. UG debunks claim of overstating employee compensation by 59 million Ghana cedis. There's a story that got a lot of people talking on social media, actually. Member of Parliament for South Dairox, Nelson Dafiamekpo, took on the university's management after the Auditor General's report indicated that some 59 million cedis was spent, in overstating employee compensation at the University of Ghana, Legon. And finally here, UN demands global public pressure to get aid deliveries into Gaza. You have any other one before I do some brief international headlines?
You can go ahead.
All right, BBC, Hamas proposes releasing some hostages in fresh talks after new Israel offensive. Doesn't look like the war will be ending anytime soon. Trump says he will call Putin to discuss stopping Ukraine bloodbath, and those are his words. 2 dead in Mexican Navy ship crash into Brooklyn Bridge. And also here, fatal blast near Palm Springs in the U.S. It's a fertility clinic, and the FBI is describing it as an act of terrorism. And very finally, CNN also talk about the former security advisor to Trump's arrest following his weird social media post. And I'm referring to Mr. Comey. And yes, they also talk about a terrorist attack at the fertility clinic in Palm Springs, California. And there's a story about the South African issue going on right now, with regards to the U.S. receiving, refugees, Afrikaner refugees, following the issues there. And they are saying, where's the evidence? CNN anchor presses DHS spokesperson on claims of genocide on white South Africans. And these are some of the big foreign stories, at the international level.
Right. I think we can delve into some of the stories. Okay, I had opened this story on Graphic because it broke on Thursday that Mpox, 2 individuals had been confirmed to have Mpox. Have you ever seen?
I thought you had finished this thing some time ago. It became very topical.
Yeah, I think the beginning of the year.
Yeah, it'd be like a few years ago, right? Monkeypox, and it was like a whole frenzy, Then
Just
I think
last year.
Last year or last 2 years? I'm not too sure. It was last year.
Yeah, last year.
Wow.
Getting into this year.
And this year, you are back again at it.
Yes, we have 2 individuals who have been confirmed, 2 confirmed cases of monkeypox in Accra. In the Accra metropolitan area. So the Ghana Health Service is advocating that we re-adopt or adopt the COVID-19 protocols, the washing of hands, sanitizers.
It should have never gone in the first place.
Well, people weren't really
We should have,
excited about.
but the wearing of face masks, right?
Yeah.
The strict protocol
Guy
adherence.
still wears his snooze mask.
Well, people who have underlying conditions and are not really clear,
What
what
exactly
you are
it
inhaling,
is.
in this part. Yeah, but I feel like they're very strict, approaches of, you have to wash your hands before you enter any building, right? There was this Veronica bucket there,
in
the
France.
soap, even when you
Everybody
enter the
has taken
building,
it away.
there were like hand sanitizers, after using, can you imagine going into like a public bank and using the pen? Or you go to the Accra Metropolitan Assembly and using the pen. Can you imagine the number of people
Who have used that
who have used that pen before
I try and avoid those things. I always have a pen with me that I take to the
There's
bank.
only a limit to which you can avoid it.
And no matter what, I will never give you
If
my
you are
pen.
going to Parliament to use job 600 in the elevator, will you say that you bring your own?
You can use your pen to press the thing.
Well,
press the buttons.
Yeah.
If you want to, live strictly, you can.
You can't.
You can.
You can't.
You can.
So when you pick your
You
Uber,
can.
if you pick an Uber, you clean the seat before you sit down.
If you pick there's a Lysol spray, antiperspirant spray, not antiperspirant, something. Disinfectant. So when you're done, you can get up and spray yourself. But see, if you want to live.
It is borderline.
There's
it is borderline
what?
OCD.
It's not OCD.
I'm telling you.
It's not
OCD. How frequent it becomes, takes you to the.
You're taking
the
care.
OCD.
I saw this video on IG. The woman comes back from work. She takes off her wig and puts it in like some disinfectant. Something. I'm like, hey, this is a new level.
People are trying
she
to
sprays everything,
yeah.
her shoes, her bags, cleans everything with sanitizer and disinfectant. And I'm like, wow. I hope she never falls sick.
Well, people are trying to, keep up with making sure that their hygiene at a very immediate level is, is really spot on. But trust me, the way our system is very communal. Right? Yeah, there. Somebody can just come in. He's sweating. You can hug you, from behind. Then the sweat and everything. But we grew up like that, right?
One thing I loved when we were going through the whole COVID period was the fact that we wouldn't greet at funerals. Is one thing that I do not like. Because I don't know where your hands have been. So anytime I'm greeting somebody, in my mind, I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait till I finish and I can use my sanitizer.
It's cultural. It's also very cultural, right?
So that was one of the things I loved during the whole COVID period. So so the Ghana Health Service is advocating that, wash your hands, use hand sanitizers. If you see somebody with rashes that you are unsure of, as you stay away from the person until they find out exactly what it is. And such people, if you're experiencing certain headaches, unexplained rashes, things that you can't explain, just go to the nearest health facility and you will get tested. So some of the symptoms include rash, fever, headache, muscle aches, back pain, low energy, and swollen lymph nodes. So if you're experiencing any of these things, please go to the nearest health facility and get tested for an Mpox, so it could be anything, and at least put your mind at ease. So 2 confirmed cases within the Greater Accra region on Thursday. Everybody should be aware and be guided.
A notorious armed robber suspected to have been involved in numerous crimes has been captured in Togo and is being extradited to Ghana, or has been extradited to Ghana. Story by Charles Owusu Kumi. The Ghana Police Service, in collaboration with the Togolese police, has arrested a notorious armed robber suspect, Adina Akpo Abdu Mujibu, alias Mohamed Janjo, from his hideout in Togo following the issuance of an Interpol red notice. The suspect, believed to be behind a series of high-profile robberies in affluent Accra neighborhoods such as East Legon and cantonments between 2022 and 2024, was arrested by Togolese authorities on January 30, 2025. He was handed over to the Ghana Police on May 12, 2025, under a regional cooperation agreement signed in Accra in December 2003. Speaking at a press briefing in Accra on Saturday, the Director General of the Criminal Investigations Department of the Ghana Police Service, DCOP, Lydia Yako Donko, confirmed the arrest and extradition of the suspect. The story goes on to say that she explained that the suspect primarily targeted high-profile individuals residing in elite communities including East Legon, Cantonments, Rage, Tesano, Airport Residential Area, and Adjering Gano. So great news coming in, kudos to the Ghana Police Service and of course their Togolese counterparts, and hopefully our society, becomes more and more safer.
Doesn't this remind you of Atai? Except this one, I never heard his name. And when I heard it on radio, was it this morning or yesterday? Dina, I thought it was a female. So, hey, what a hardened criminal. And then the alias came. I was like, okay. Wow. But yeah, kudos to the two of them, Ghana Police and was it CID? Yeah. And their counterparts in Togo. They've done a yeoman's job. Very, very good.
I know.
Yeah.
The city has become topical.
Yes, it has.
In recent weeks, also or largely due to the performance, right?
Yeah.
So moving from like 15 as of the time this government was handing or leaving power to 12.3 in the space of about 4 months, and everybody's like, what is really happening? A lot of people feel that, it is as a result of global, happenings. So US-China trade tariffs, right? The whole world trying to move away from the dollar, and as a result has weakened the dollar, and we are seeing the ripple effects being that the city seems to be gaining grounds. In fact, there was a CNN report that said that China had increased their exports by 8% in the aftermath of the US-China, trade war. And, so many things. But the truth also of the matter, according to, analysts, currency analysts within the space, is that if you look at the performance of the city, it's not only against the dollar, right? It's also against the pound, for example, and even the euros, other world major trading currencies. And comparatively, within our sub-region, if you take the CFA, if you take the Naira, if you take other African currencies, comparatively, the city seems to be appreciating more and more against the dollar. So, well, it could be, or true, it could be as a result of global factors like the tariffs war that's currently ongoing. Hopefully, we find an end to that soon. But, this government and its communicators have sought to make the point, and in fact, I've even heard the Bank of Ghana through the deputy governor, Dr. Zakaria, talk about the fact that it's also as a result of deliberate efforts by both monetary and fiscal policy handlers, to drive growth, right? So they are saying, well, you can credit all that's happening outside for all you want, but you also can't discount the fact that there's a prudent management of the economy. Yesterday on the show on Big Issue, it was a big conversation. Dr. Kabiru Mahama, who was Baumia's special aid on the economy, was here, and he's a finance
saying
guy.
That it's things that they put in place before they left government that has accounted for the city.
So they are quick
well.
to cite their Gold for Oil initiative and all of that. And like I was saying, Dr. Kabiru is a technical guy. He was a technical advisor on the economy to Baumia, who was a supposed economic messiah, right? And, he made an interesting comment on Big Issue yesterday. He said that with the greatest of respect, with all that Kiselato Forsen as finance minister has done in the last 4 years, anybody at all as finance minister can do it, right? So, he sought to make the point that it wasn't like some wild Forsenomics was at play, but it was just, everything aligning for this government, global, local, just all coming together. However, his opponent or his
friend on the other side,
friend on the other side, Inusa Fuseni, had different views with regards to the performance of the city, and this story is beautifully captured on citynewsroom.com with the headline, "City's gains driven by fiscal monetary alignment." Inusa Fuseni basically saying the finance ministry, the central bank, are now working together. There's some, synergy. Very brief excerpts of the story read, former member of parliament for Tamale Central, Inusa Fuseni, has attributed the recent strength of the Ghanaian city to the effective coordination of fiscal and monetary policies under the Mahama-led administration. Speaking in an interview on ChannelOne TV's The Big Issue on Saturday, May 17, Mr. Fuseni emphasized that a notable improvement in the city's performance is not merely the result of external economic conditions, but rather the outcome of deliberate policy alignment by the current government. According to Mr. Fuseni, while external factors such as the global market dynamics affect the entire West African sub-region, other currencies in the region, including the CFA, the Nigerian Naira, are not performing as strongly as the city. And he goes on to talk about the fact that the city's performance, has got a lot to do with, work being done here by both the finance ministry and the central bank. So interesting perspectives, depends on which side of the divide you belong to, really.
I always say that, yeah, it's appreciated, but we're not feeling it at the market. And I agree with Cuts International here, telling Guta and AGI that there's no excuse not to reduce prices. Because, Jude, you and I were in this country. When the city went up, they immediately increased their price. They didn't even wait for the new stock.
It's the fuel one that even kills me. The fuel prices, they go up before they
before everything else.
The fuel prices go up before you even see that the exchange rate has gone up.
So you see, when the city depreciates against the dollar, they increase the prices automatically. They don't wait for new stock. But this time they're telling us that, they have to follow the trend and see what's happening, and then blah 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 blah. Oh, come on! Right now they've given themselves 60 days or so. So the story here from Cuts International on ChannelOneNews.com: no excuse not to reduce prices. Cuts International tells Guta AGI. Apia Kusi Adumakun, West Africa Regional Director of Cuts International, has slammed Guinean businesses for refusing to adjust prices in favor of consumers despite the recent appreciation of the city against the dollar. Speaking on the big issue on Channel One TV on Saturday, Adumakun accused businesses of taking undue advantage of weak consumer protection structures to profiteer at the expense of ordinary Ghanaians. Weak consumer protection structures. That's something that every government needs to work on, and also pricing regulations in our markets, because it's annoying when you move from one shop. This one is 10 cedis. You go here is 15. You go here is 12. You go here is. They're pricing it in their own way. So there should be some form of regulation. It's unbelievable,
There should be some form of regulation. But to be fair, I listened to Awin Gobet on the same show, who's with the Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana, and he makes the point that prices are coming down, right?
Are they?
According to him, at the ports, right, the prices are coming down. But we don't go and buy things from the port.
No.
So we can't. Very briefly before we go, there's a terrorist attack in the U.S., right? And Palm Springs Fertility Clinic targeted an explosion that has left 1 dead and 4 injured, all the way in California. At least 1 person is dead and 4 others injured in the Palm Springs, California explosion outside a fertility clinic. Akeo Davis, the FBI's assistant director in charge of Los Angeles field office, said on Saturday. The FBI is working to confirm the identity of the person who has died. And the FBI director said in a news conference, he described the incident as one of the largest bombing investigations we've had in Southern California. Rather unfortunate story. There should be no place for terrorism, in today's world, and hopefully they're able to conclude on investigations on that matter.
On that note, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we have more for you.